According to her, America no longer has the upper middle class. She said there's no more middle class in the United States. She's given a couple of interviews lately, but this is actually something more specific where she refers to. She's trying to paint a mental picture. Yeah. She's taking the mantle from Bernie Sanders. You know he's pissed about that.
She's going further left than he is, which is crazy.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see the clip first where she talks about this.
This upper middle class is probably more moderate. Mm-hmm. But that upper middle class doesn't exist anymore in America. Their heyday was in the 90s when kids had Furbies and parents, you had soccer moms with 2 vans and stuff
Furbies and 2 vans.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
That's not America anymore.
Okay, she talks about the 90s in the middle class. Now she talks about 2 vans and Furbies and stuff. Okay, today, actually, Americans have it better than the 90s. So let's just use her comparison. So the average vehicle, specifically, which you have per capita, and Furbies sucked.
We've moved on.
Steadily risen along with the median income, yes, when adjusted for inflation. So even in her examples, they have more cars and they have more money. And by the way, when you look at things that she didn't bring up, which is what we talk about a lot as free enterprise advocates, and you can comment, I'd love to hear from you, with advancements in technology, things think of plasma screens, cell phones now, smartphones. Again, 90s, you go back, it was still just a cell phone, a cellular phone.
If you were lucky.
And smartphone, services, online educational assistance. Everything is more accessible than ever. She goes on to make another claim that unemployment is only low because Americans have to work 2 jobs. Let her say it.
The numbers that you just talked about is part of the problem, right? Because we look at these figures and we say, oh, unemployment is low, everything is fine, right? Well, unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
All right. Everyone.
Even PolitiFact, bring this up, Rodigan, rated this as pants on fire. Number of, I think, job holders is about 7 million compared to more than 148 million Americans who are employed in a single job. So this is important. It's not because of 2 jobs. And by the way, also, a lot of people are working second jobs right now because of something else that the left opposes. Ironically, socialists oppose the sharing economy. So people who work full-time jobs who don't have to work second jobs, they drive Uber or they use their home as an Airbnb and sometimes. So it's really hard to get those numbers. Even then, it's more damning than she would hope you to believe. New ideas, right? Like universal basic income.
The mayor of Stockton, he's exploring doing a pilot program of universal basic income. That's also what people want right now. They want new
What she
ideas.
actually means is Nick and Nate Diaz.
Right, yes, exactly. Nick and Nate Diaz.
Oh, my gosh.
Mayor of Stockton. She's like the mayor of Stockton, city commissioner of Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo.
Happened in Flint. By the way, this is not a new idea. Universal basic income, it's been tried in places like Canada and Finland, and surprise, they're not continuing it. Yeah, it's not going on. And here's the thing, this is all based on the premise, and she repeats this a lot she repeats it ad nauseum, just like Bernie Sanders did. It's predicated on the concept that inequality is a plaguing, gigantic, evil social injustice.
And it's not.
We need stronger champions, but I don't think that they see exactly how rising income inequality has resulted in a very stark political reality.
We've talked about this. When people say about inequalities, what's wrong with inequality? Well, don't you think inequality is wrong? No. Well, and their brains explode. Let me explain to you. Inequality in and of itself is not a problem if everyone is doing better. People can have greater economic equality and actually be far worse off. See Venezuela. So let me kind of give you an example. Let's say there's a $10 pie, okay? There's a $10 pie. I own 50, you own 50, right? We're equal. There you go. You have perfect equality. Now, is that better than, let's say you go and grow that pie to $500 pie. So now I only have 20% of that pie, right? I still have 20 times what I had before, even though the inequality gap has widened significantly. Where am I better off?
And most importantly, you have pie.
Yes. More importantly, you have pie. This is why inequality cannot be a measurement in and of itself. We say this, it's nuanced. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. Inequality doesn't exist in a vacuum. Anytime you have somebody who creates goods or services that benefit the rest of society, that gap is going to widen. Kind of like anytime Wayne Gretzky went to go play for a hockey team, guess what? The gap between his scoring and the rest of the players, it was always wider than before Wayne Gretzky arrived on the team, but everybody else played better. They were soft for Wayne Gretzky being on the team? Of course not. It's a fundamental worldview issue where people like Cortez, she always says, oh, I have a degree, and I have a degree. So no, she doesn't understand economics because not only can that pie grow, as we've talked about, but as conservatives, we've talked about this, due to human ingenuity in a free enterprise system, we can bake more pies. To use her own words, it's not the 90s anymore. I can name you entirely new pies that have been created since. This is a good example. People are like, oh, you say you can create new pies. I don't know why that's a really silly argument, but that's the actual argument that she's making. She thinks it's a zero-sum game. Okay, what pies have been created, have been baked since the 90s that didn't exist? Smartphones, Amazon, social media, electric cars, fracking, nanotechnology, the sharing economy. None of these pies existed 2 decades ago.
Or came from Venezuela.
Or came from Venezuela.
Or any socialist country for that matter.
Finland. I'm pretty sure not much.
No.
Maybe something during those times. I have no idea. I can't verify that completely, but I'm pretty sure Finland's crappy. So why are we bitching?